Brewers and Pirates squaring off. Paul Skeens, Jacob Misiorowski, and we have a total of 6.5 runs. Because obviously, two pitchers. I don't have to tell you much about Paul Skeens. He has a 1.85 ERA. But Misiorowski for the Brewers has a 1.64 ERA and is 2-0 on the year. Guy throws gas. He's a 6'7", I think, beanpole. Somebody who I think can mow down a lot of batters against the Pirates, who are not a good offense. But is 6.5 too low? Is there anything worth playing here? And it should be noted that the Pirates are favored here. Minus 115, Milwaukee minus 105. What was your take when you saw this line and this total?
I kind of like the Pirates here, which is crazy to think. But I don't trust them. You can get the Pirates on the first 5 money line at minus 145, or you can go under 3.5 at minus 140. Here's the thing. I don't know if the Brewers are going to be able to touch Paul Skeens, but then Misiorowski has such great stuff, and the Pirates' bats are so bad. If it were any other team outside of Pittsburgh, I would definitely go with Skeens. But Misiorowski just is a unit. I mean, both of these guys are. So I think I like under 3.5 at minus 140. I know that's a really low total for the first 5, but I'd like to stay away from the Pirates bullpen. I want no part of that. Even though I do think the Pirates might be the right side here. Man, this is such a low number. This is going to be a hard thing to play. But I think it's under 3.5 at minus 140. You can also play under 3, and that is even money if you think it's going to be 1-0, 2-0, which I absolutely think could be a possibility.
Yeah, I think the best selection is probably the first 5 under 3.5, because that's squarely if you're banking on both these starting pitchers. And again, I mentioned that the Pirates offense, like even against like bad pitchers, they're not posting much. And we know what Paul Skeens can do as far as shutting down lineups. I did look at the first 7, because sometimes if guys go more than 5 innings, which I don't know about these two pitchers, but sometimes you can get some value there. But the number they give you is 4.5. So like that's not much. Usually if I could get a 5.5 in the first 7 innings, that's worth playing. But under 5.5 is minus 165. So it's one of those bets that's just tough because of the numbers. Like you are not sneaking up on the odds makers by saying, oh, this is a great pitching matchup. The total reflects that. But I still think the first 5 under is worth a solid look. All right, next up, let's go to the Nationals and the Padres. So San Diego minus 160, Washington plus 135, total of 8 here. And another good pitching matchup, Mackenzie Gore, the ace of the Nats, goes today. Despite his 3-7 record, he has a 3.19 ERA. Nick Pivetta is having a nice season. With the Friars, he's 7-2 with a 3.64 ERA. So, Jenks, total, side, underdog. Can I interest you anything in this Nationals-Padres game?
Yeah, I like Mackenzie Gore a lot. Maybe a first 5 under. That way you stay away from the Nats bullpen. These bad bullpens are something that always scare me away from the full game total, which I would lean to under 8. But at some point, Mackenzie Gore is going to give way to the back end pitchers on that national staff, and that's always a recipe for disaster. I think first 5 under, or maybe Nationals first 5 money line. You never know with the Nationals bats. They're sort of up and down. Nick Pivetta has been great this season. But I would, if you're looking to get some plus money on the card, then I would absolutely take a look. Maybe just take a gander at Mackenzie Gore, Nats first 5 money line, or look at the under, which is another play I like.
Yeah, the first 5, especially since you get a nice round number at 4, and you can get under 4 for even money, or you can get the Nats even money in the first 5. If one of those hits, I guess those cancel out. You need a little bit more plus money to like have only one of them hit and net gain. But the point still stands. If you want 2 plus money bets, I think that is 2 good ones in the Nats and the Padres game. All right, speaking of good pitchers, we've got another ace. Jacob deGrom going for the Rangers today, 7-2, 2.24 ERA. Texas minus 150 on the money line. Baltimore is plus 125. Jenks, I've been on the fade the Oriole train for most of the season, and it's come out, pretty well for me. Are we fading the O's today?
Definitely. I found this Rangers money line minus 142. Yes, in a big way. So Jacob deGrom is Jacob deGrom. 2 runs or less in 12 consecutive starts. Rangers have won 4 straight when he's on the mound. So he's been getting some decent run support as well. Brandon Young getting called up from the minors to start for the Orioles this afternoon. He's already made 2 starts for the O's this season. Gave up 3 runs in 4 innings to the Reds, 3 runs in 4 2/3 innings against the Tigers. O's also have the 3rd worst bullpen in the American League. Rangers have the 3rd best ERA overall. Again, I found the Rangers at -142, and I actually think this should be around -160, -165. So I'm definitely on Texas today.
Yeah, I think that's a solid play. I was just looking to see some of the props on Jacob deGrom because I will say the sabotage factor is that the Rangers offense has not been great this year. So maybe you look at earned runs for Jacob deGrom, but it's 1.5. I hate that. I thought maybe we'd get a 2.5, but we did not. Hits allowed is, let's see, 4.5. That's really low as well. So I don't know. Maybe you just go with the Rangers in the first 5, but I do think Jacob deGrom shoves against a bottom 10 offense in the Orioles. We have a lot of good pitchers going today. Like that's the theme that I've noticed. We have Max Scherzer going, which I know that he is a little long in the tooth. Max Fried is going. We have Zach Wheeler going. We have Yamamoto going for the Dodgers. Do any of those games interest you, Jenks? Because I know based on like some of your bets that like I've seen over the last few years, I feel like that's usually our starting point is that like, okay, who's pitching? Because it makes such a big deal in baseball. Are you backing any of these aces?
Yeah, this is why I actually enjoy handicapping baseball more so than basketball, for example, because clearly you can just look at the 2 starting pitchers and immediately start from there, which is when you're looking at a basketball matchup, you almost have to rely on trends and maybe how teams match up, and it's a harder handicap, at least for me. But when you look at 2 pitchers like this, and I'm talking about the Braves-Mets game, actually, I think is interesting. You've got Didier Fuentes going for the Braves against Clay Holmes, and I know you're like, who is this Didier Fuentes? This kid is really interesting. He's one of the youngest pitchers to ever make a start in Major League Baseball, and I can't decide if I want to put a sprinkle on the under here. So he struggled last time out in his Major League debut. Gave up 4 runs to the Rays. But here's the thing. He actually looked really, really good in spots, and he admitted he was nervous, first ever Major League start, but he's got great stuff. Clay Holmes has been very good for the Mets, 7-4, 3.04 ERA. So at 20 years old, and you're making your first ever Major League start, I feel like you're only going to get better. And look, he could get touched up by the Mets. Maybe this is more of a gut play, but I feel like 9 and a hook here is way too high, especially when you're talking about 2 under teams. So the Braves are the 4th best under team in the sport. The Mets are right behind it 5th. I think I'm going to lean under 9.5. I know those aren't the big name pitchers that you mentioned here, but this game did stick out to me yesterday just because of this Fuentes kid. And because these 2 teams, you think Braves and Mets, you think over teams, not really the way it's been this season.
Well, and also you get a 9.5, which is a pretty high total. I think that I would lean towards the first 5 under. You can get it under 5.5 for -125. So like if you are banking on Fuentes to have a bit of a bounce back, like I think that's the way to go, because my only sabotage factor would be both the Braves and the Mets used 5 relievers last night because neither of the starters went past 5 innings. I watched this game. So Jenks, you interested in first 5 under 5.5, or are you standing tall with the 9.5?
Doesn't that seem like a gift? It almost scares me because it's so high. I know, right? That's the thing. When you get this, I'm like, oh, hammer it. 5.5? You never get that. But then I think, well, there is a reason why it's so high. I think the under's going to hit. Yeah, you know what? I'll be a sucker. I'll put a sprinkle on that. Let's go under. When do you ever get 5.5 in the first 5?